WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly,
the longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio.
And he's obviously Michael Cole.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Talking wrestling.
Yeah.
Because that's what this show's about. That's what we've been doing for over 16 years.
No. It's about sports entertainment.
And now here are your hosts of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Will you stop marking out over there?
Sorry.
Move over, kid. I'm taking your microphone.
You're shallow, you know that?
I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. I don't remember what the hell I do anymore.
There's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, flying solo as there were some changes to the schedule last minute thanks to Mother Nature. We're going to be off at 12:45 today because of Pennsbury football. It was supposed to go last night, but some lightning storms through the area kind of, kept things unsafe from being able to play. So we're here a little bit shorter than usual, but we'll try to make the best of it as we always tend to do. Going to start off this segment a little bit, I guess, both lighthearted and also heartfelt at the same time. As while this particular individual didn't make the largest contribution to wrestling by any means, still a very notable name who had passed away and involved himself in wrestling at least a little bit. Legendary actor Burt Reynolds died this past Thursday at the age of 82. And he was featured in the pro wrestling world as a guest celebrity at Wrestlemania 10 back for the WWF in 1994. And I've got all the highlights of his appearance at that event. And something that threw me for a loop, I didn't realize at the time that he was 58. And he certainly didn't look it. I mean, maybe it's just, great hair dye job, mustache dye job, I'm not sure. But he looked a lot younger than the 58 that he actually was. And I even have a clip from that WrestleMania event that I remember seeing as a kid, but apparently, as I was looking it up here, was edited out of the WWE Network version. A little fun bit of Shawn Michaels promo with another celebrity guest, Rhonda Shear of USA's Up All Night. Yeah, you remember that. I'm not going that high with it. But yeah, Reynolds comes in, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But back to Reynolds, you may know him from box office hits like The Longest Yard, Smokey and the Bandit, as well as its sequel, as well as the Cannonball Run. And he then went on to television in the early 1990s, starring in the sitcom Evening Shade, which in one of the clips you'll hear announcer Bill Dunn mentioning as that was going on at the time that WrestleMania was. And strangely enough, 2 months after the appearance, Evening Shade was canceled by CBS. Go figure. But anyway, yeah, here we'll start things off with this clip here from an interview segment leading into the World Wrestling Federation Fan Fest. It was Shawn Michaels cutting a promo and also trying to put some moves on Rhonda Shear, I guess trying to have 2 words for her a few years before DX was a thing. But, Burt Reynolds, he kind of came in and stole the show as only he can do.
Great shit. Hey, what's going on?
Burt Reynolds! Hi!
Hey,
oh my gosh, I'm Rhonda Shear.
Mr. Reynolds, let's go. Hey, she's mine.
Listen, would you get that chest shaved because it's really ugly?
What do you got in there? Oh, come on.
If you do, you never come back.
Burt,
Huh?
you give me the vapors, but
I know,
you
I
also
usually-
keep me up all night.
You keep me up all night. I wish there was something we could do about that.
Oh,
You know what I'd like to do?
what?
I'd like to go to Fan Fest.
Will you take me, please?
I'll take you wherever you want to go.
My guess is that was a live take, and it probably didn't go over as well as liked. So I guess, it felt a little awkward. Just, I don't know. The whole comparing chest hair thing, and I don't know. I'm with Burt on that. Try to keep that trimmed down, but that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, on to the main event where Reynolds was the guest ring announcer for the Bret Hart and Yokozuna WWF Championship match.
And our guest ring announcer is a legend in the entertainment industry. All right. Currently, the star of Evening Shade, the one and the only
and gentlemen. And you notice the cast on his right hand. We feel sorry for the muggers. We welcome here to New York City where he's safe in the New York City environs.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happier to be here than you are.
I don't know about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this contest scheduled for one fall is our second World Wrestling Federation Championship match. This time, I introduce you to the special guest referee.
All right, here we go.
I think I know who it is. I think it's Owen Hart, a last-minute
And
replacement.
I'm a huge fan of his too, and I know you
It is Owen Hart.
Rowdy.
What?
Rowdy.
Where's the hot rod? Where is it?
Introducing first,
Here he comes
accompanied
again.
by his manager, Mr. Fuji, and his American spokesperson, James E. Cornett, weighing 568 pounds, the World Wrestling Federation champion, Yokozuna!
Yokozuna. Uh-oh, and here we go.
And his opponent,
Can the Hitman do it? Can he do it?
and challenger from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, weighing 234 pounds, and in my opinion, one of the greatest athletes in wrestling today.
Oh, listen to that.
Bret, the Hitman Hart.
Yes, indeed. Look at this. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Look at it. Ring the bell, he's saying.
He hit his head.
2, 3.
No! way!
We have a new champion.
No way!
Yokozuna can't believe it.
And no World Wrestling Federation champion, Bret, the Hitman Hart.
Bret Hart somehow has done it.
Yeah, I know. Announcing didn't exactly seem to be his forte. I'm going to chalk it up to the fact that he, as Vince McMahon mentioned, had a cast on his right arm, so trying to hold the microphone with one hand and reading all the cue cards in the other, the proverbial script, it was a little challenging. So I think I can give him at least a little bit of a pass for that, and hopefully you will as well. And one other clip that I thought was kind of interesting here to close out this abbreviated first segment. As you know, I'm a big fan of game shows, always have been, and here's a rather interesting outtake here from when he was on the Hollywood Squares in, I believe it was the late 1960s with Peter Marshall. The date of the clip isn't exactly given, but it's a clean-shaven Burt Reynolds, so that already throws you for a loop a little bit. But, the question posed by Peter Marshall, well, let's just say that at a certain point where the uproarious laughter comes in, that's because Reynolds quickly glances down to in between his legs. We'll just kind of let you fill in the rest of the pieces from there.
What is that small, cute thing? Yeah? What is that small, cute thing on... Wait! Bert,
Yeah.
what is that small... Please, audience. What is that small, cute thing... That's small on Cher. On Cher, just below her waist.
Small, cute thing just below Cher's waist.
Waist, yeah. What is it?
Sonny Bono.
Granted, Sonny and Cher were a couple and an item at that point, so that's what made the joke that much funnier, even more so pointing light to the fact that Sonny Bono, it was more about Cher than it was about Sonny Bono, so I guess that's kind of where where the little nod of humor was there for those who weren't necessarily around for it, myself definitely included, but I like older references and things. So yes, Burt Reynolds passing away at the age of 82, and definitely his loss is felt throughout the acting community and even a little bit in the wrestling community, as even WWE had posted a statement regarding Reynolds. WWE issuing a statement both on their website and on Twitter that read, WWE is saddened to learn that Academy Award-nominated actor and Hollywood icon Burt Reynolds has passed away at the age of 82. Now, even more interestingly, Bret Hart, who wrestled in that main event that Reynolds had been a guest ring announcer for, he had shared a message on social media about Reynolds, who he actually had run into not too long ago. It says here in the tweet, I had the pleasure to see Burt recently. Although visibly frail, he remembered me. I thanked him for his part of Wrestlemania X. He was a real fan, thoroughly enjoyed the event, the wrestlers, and fans. He was a class act, and I'm honored to have been able to tell him that. R.I.P. So, yeah, even Bret's showing some respect there for Burt Reynolds. And there's also a nice picture of the two of them together, and it looks like Bret's almost holding him up a little bit between Bret and the table there. A little challenging for Burt to stand at that point, which is definitely unfortunate. Anyway, I know. As I tried to get some lighter moments mixed in with the negative moments. We're going to take our first time out here and come back with some more news, notes, and reaction and everything else. But first, I want to let you know that the place to get action figures, replica title belts, sports memorabilia, banners, and more is at George's Cards and Collectibles. George's has 2 locations for all of your cards and collectibles needs, including their original store at 7755 New Falls Road in Levittown, and in the Neshaminy Mall in the movie theater wing. For more information, go to georgescollectibles.com and follow George's Cards and Collectibles on Facebook. Coming back with more stuff right after this here on Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Chickies and Pete's, your favorite local sports bar with the best in-game experience. Catch all the action and the players at Chickies and Pete's all season long. Live football shows all season, featuring the Brandon Graham Show every Monday. Plus, the Chickie and Pete's Players Lounge with many more special guests. Enjoy daily drink specials, signature menu items, and our world-famous crab fries. Chickies and Pete's is a proud partner of the Philadelphia Eagles and the official caterer of the Touchdown Club at Lincoln Financial Field. Head to chickiesandpete's.com for the full schedule.
Impacting our community. Principal Justin Ross.
The backpack program here at Williamsport High School, we're in our 2nd year of existence. We provide them with enough food to make it through the weekend.
Teacher Roger Freed.
We have a partnership with the Central PA Food Bank where the life skills students and their teachers will order all of the materials, all of the food. My students' success starts here.
Success starts here at Williamsport Area High School.
To learn more about today's public schools, go to successstartshere.org. Sponsored by the Pennsylvania School Boards Association.
All commentators heard on WBCB express their own views. Their opinions are not necessarily those of others on WBCB, including the staff and management.
Join former Phillies pitcher Ricky Vitalico and Tommy Green along with host John Brazier for the Baseball Insider Show presented by SEPTA this and every Sunday prior to Phillies baseball. For guest and location information, visit WBCB1490.com. It's the Baseball Insider Show presented by SEPTA this Sunday prior to Phillies baseball right here on 1490 WBCB and video stream live on Facebook and at WBCBsports.com.
You won't see termites crawling across your floor, but thousands might be devouring the wood in your walls, weakening the structure of your home. For over 50 years, Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley has been in the exterminating business. If you think you have a pest problem, they're the experts. Call them today at 215-639-5455. That's 215-639-5455 for TPPC. Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley gives your home or business peace of mind, knowing your pest problem is in their hands. Located at 1560 Bristol Pike in Bensalem, they use only EPA-approved material applied by licensed technicians. Call Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley at 215-639-5455.
He's got the Luigi death stare from Fearon, so he might have to...
I didn't give you the Luigi death stare. That's not true.
You're breaking kayfabe.
breaking cape. I'm going to break something else during this commercial.
There we go. That's what I like to see.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your hosts, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Are we getting into that controversy again?
I know how it feels and it's not fun.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, flying solo as Lucas is down at the Monster Factory for a one-day camp that's going on today with factory instructors Danny Cage, Punishment Martinez of Ring of Honor, current ROH television champion, as well as WWE Hall of Famer Gerald Briscoe is down there, and current voice of Ring of Honor, the play-by-play voice Ian Riccaboni. I'll be joining them as soon as things are wrapping up here, so forgive me if things are going to be running a little short. And also, in kind of a tie-in from the previous segment, kind of being in that WrestleMania 10 frame of mind, I thought, all right, since Bret Hart gets all the love at the end here, what about Lex Luger in the middle, who didn't win his title opportunity? So to show some love to Lex and also to kind of bring this out there because it's been, golly, almost 7 years since this had happened. I actually have from Sinomania a few years ago my interview with Lex Luger, so we'll be bringing that to you here in the third and final segment coming up. But to the news we go, to the news, notes, and otherwise. So something else that's kind of fun here, a press release was announced yesterday regarding a partnership with WizKids and WWE. No, not the 1950s Phillies there, Ted. No, WizKids is a company that makes high-quality, pre-painted miniatures and has board games as well as tabletop combat games. Yeah, it's kind of, I guess, the nerdy type stuff a lot of people are going to say there. And while I don't know too much of it, I'm kind of intrigued. WWE superstars will be brought to the tabletop with successful gaming platforms HeroClix and Dice Masters, as well as branded board games. So, from what I can see of it, it looks like it's part Dungeons & Dragons and part Magic the Gathering. Players construct teams of comic book heroes, villains, or video game characters and engage in a turn-by-turn battle on grid maps based on various storyline locations. But instead of keeping track on pen and paper, it looks like the statistics are all on the base of the character, and you turn the dials to adjust the stats based on gameplay. I guess that's where they get the hero clicks aspect, as you're clicking the different, I don't know, something along those lines. Also, similarly, Dice Masters allows players to build teams and roll dice combinations to knock out their competition. Superstars added to the mix will include John Cena, Charlotte Flair, Roman Reigns, The Rock, and The Undertaker, as well as Hall of Famers Stone Cold Steve Austin and Trish Stratus, among others. The first release is scheduled for sometime in 2019 in the United States, Canada, Mexico, Australia, and Europe. So I may have to give that a look. We'll see. Also, not sure if you were a fan of it when it was out before, but it's coming back. WWE announcing that the Mixed Match Challenge will return to Facebook Watch on September 18th, just a week and a half from now. The teams that have been announced for the tournament, there are 10 teams. It's going to be Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss, Bobby Lashley and Sasha Banks, Finn Balor and Bayley, Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox, as well as Kevin Owens and Natalya, all from the Raw brand. Meanwhile, on SmackDown, you've got The Miz pairing up with Asuka, Jimmy Uso and Naomi, Rusev and Lana, AJ Styles and Charlotte Flair, and R-Truth and Carmella. Now, the Mixed Match Challenge will have a 14-week run, and there's going to be a 10-minute pre-show that will air at the air opposite the end of SmackDown. And the actual Mixed Match Challenge broadcast will begin at 10 p.m. Eastern right after SmackDown. And the big change this year, it'll be a 30-minute broadcast with 2 matches airing each week, and it'll be a round-robin style tournament. So everybody will face everybody once, apparently. And another new twist that they had announced is that the Season 2 finale of the Mixed Match Challenge will take place during WWE's TLC pay-per-view on Sunday, December 16th. So just a few months away, right at the end, they're going to have that on pay-per-view. Now, they also announced the first 2 matches for that season premiere coming up a week and a half from now. It's going to be Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss against Kevin Owens and Natalya. And then the second match is going to be AJ Styles and Charlotte Flair against Jimmy Uso and Naomi. And again, they'll be airing on Facebook Watch right after SmackDown, and that's a week from this Tuesday. Also, another match that was announced a little bit ago this past week is coming up for October 28th, the Evolution pay-per-view. It's going to be battle of the old schools in this case. It's going to be Lita taking on Mickie James, a Hall of Famer against future Hall of Famer down the road. Well, I've also got some good news from the All In pay-per-view from this past Saturday. It looked to be a success across the board. Now, the pay-per-view numbers have yet to be announced, but the in-arena attendance, which they were looking to be a little over 10,000, it was a little more than a little over 10,000 at 11,263. And the hour-long pre-show on WGN America pulled in 196,000 viewers, which you might think, well, that's it? You have to remember, first off, it was a non-primetime show on a Saturday evening, which usually is less than ideal in terms of TV viewing, and it was on a holiday weekend, on Labor Day weekend. So put all those things together, and that was, it did pretty good, all things considered. Plus, it was the only show on WGN America to finish in the top 150 original cable telecasts list for September 1st. So while not overwhelming, the network can certainly consider it a success. And they may, who knows, where things may go down the road. Maybe it might lead to something a little more, maybe possibly Ring of Honor. There's potential options being discussed and things that might come down the line from that. Meanwhile, WWE, they seem to be going all in on the Super Showdown event down in Australia, announcing 3 more matches for the Supercard and pay-per-view WWE Network event this week, and even bringing in Shawn Michaels to hype the Triple H Undertaker match, where I'm trying to quickly do the math here, but I think their combined ages are closing in on triple digits. Yeah, 53 for The Undertaker, and Triple H is 49. That would be 102. Yeah, usually those are ones that people tend to hesitate and get away from. I mean, we haven't really seen anything like that since the Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan battles of the early 2000s and even mid-2000s in TNA time frame. So I got to let you know, we are 6 weeks away from things getting hoppy at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA, where it's back. That's right, Broken Goblet Brewing presents Hoppy Halloween 4, the only beer fest that celebrates local first with some of the best libations available in the surrounding areas, along with one of their favorite holidays. It'll be Saturday, October 20th from 2 to 6 p.m., rain or shine. And stay tuned, as the plan is to host the event at their new location, 2500 State Road in Bensalem, but hasn't quite opened as of yet. But the location you know and love can host the event if a setback occurs as they get closer to opening that new building. Also, when the Birds win, you win. That's right, for the next 2 business days following an Eagles victory, you can get $3 off of a Crowler Takeout 3-pack. So today's the last day to take advantage of that season-opening victory this past Thursday night. Don't forget some of the other weekly features, including Sunday Bloody Marys and Bloody Flights, as well as brews from noon to 5. Tuesdays, it's Jackbox.tv on the big screen, and it's free to play from your cell phone. Wednesdays are open mic night with Brian Bortnick. Occasionally you'll see Lucas up there with the guitar singing and whatnot. If you do, can you smash it over him like Honky Tonk or Jeff Jarrett? No, okay, No. Plus, he wouldn't let you take it out of his hands anyway. Thursdays have the house musician Mike Estabrook, who plays tunes and has the Esta Bingo, which can help you win chances at a quarterly jackpot. Fridays have live music from a variety of acts, and Saturdays are a hodgepodge of events. And the brews, there are a bunch, but on tap, you've got the 2018 version of Bubba's Tea Bag. You've got the Angry Troll Amber Ale. Also the Hefner, that's the German-style wheat beer. The Steinbeiser's Buried Treasure, for those who like something a little bit lighter, that's their cream ale. It's like a domestic but made with love. Also the Under Her Spell Saison, that has a bit of a kick. The Yin Yang Oatmeal Stout, that's for those who like a darker beer as the colder temperatures come in. And for something a little bit different and flavorful, well, back on tap because, well, we kicked off the football season, is No One Likes Us, We Don't Care. That's right, the American IPA that with 7 different hops that's very East Coast style and has its IBUs at a very appropriate 62. and the interestingly flavored pineapple gyroscopes and infrared. So this is a West Coast style IPA that has pineapple in it as well. So a few different options, to say the least, and just a few reasons why it's always a good time at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. Broken Goblet Brewing, the semi-official brewery of Pro Wrestling Weekly. Please enjoy responsibly. Just a reminder, we're on until 12:45 today, as we have a makeup game from last night due to lightning and other inclement weather. It's going to be Pennsbury High School against North Penn, and that's going to be both here on 1490 WBCB as well as video streamed online at WBCBsports.com. Meanwhile, as far as things here, on the other side, I've got the interview with Lex Luger as a little bit of an archive here, and then we'll come back with birthdays. We also have Today in Wrestling History and all the other stuff to wrap things up here on Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
More people are online every day to check and pay their bills. Now you can have your BCWSA utility bill delivered electronically. Enrollment couldn't be easier. Just go to bcwsa.net or call 800-222-2068. With e-billing, you have control to see your bills when you want, set reminders for each new bill, and best of all, the service is free. Sign up for e-billing at bcwsa.net. Your partner for a safer environment, BCWSA. Proven.
Join Rebecca's forecast Tuesday at 10 a.m. She'll take your calls, questions, and fill you in on what's happening for your personal sun sign. Join Rebecca's forecast once again every Tuesday at 10 a.m. right here on 1490 WBCB.
Everything you wanted to know about funerals and planning but did not know who to ask. Tune in Mondays at 9 a.m. to everything you wanted to know about funerals and planning, being brought to you by Louis A. Galzerano III Funeral Home. Call 215-945-8484.
What does Meals on Wheels do? They deliver meals and smiles to homebound seniors. But Meals on Wheels does something else. They turn a volunteer's lunch break into a meaningful experience.
As small and as simple as a relationship is between a volunteer and a client of Meals on Wheels, it's really so impactful. I never thought that 5 minutes could make so much difference in the lives of two people, but it has.
Drop off a warm meal and get more than you expect. Volunteer at americaletsdolunch.org. That's americaletsdolunch.org. Brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Stepping into the unknown, it can be difficult to find the way. But with the compassion and security of Independence Blue Cross, obstacles become openings. As we have for nearly 80 years, Independence will continue to light the way. With the card accepted in all 50 states, giving you the power to shine forward to whatever awaits tomorrow. Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless.
Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, September 8th. On this date in 2003, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Huntsville, Alabama. In the main event, Goldberg and Randy Orton fought Ric Flair and Triple H to a no contest in a tag team match. On this date in 2004, the NWA TNA held its weekly pay-per-view number 110. In the main event, Jeff Jarrett pinned Jeff Hardy to retain the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. On this date in 2012, Ring of Honor held its Caged Hostility Supercard. In the main event, Rhett Titus and the Briscoe brothers defeated Jimmy Jacobs, Steve Corino, and Kevin Steen in a 6-man tag team cage match. This has been Today in Wrestling History, September 8th.
1490 WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. Welcome back. Fearon Derry here from Sinomania 7 with one of the legends, one of the greats, in my opinion, should be a Hall of Famer, at least in the WWE. Vince hasn't quite gotten around to that yet. I think it should be coming soon, though. Some might know him as the Narcissist. Some might know him as Made in the USA. A lot of you know him as the Total Package. Here is the one, the only, Lex Luger.
Wow, what an intro there, Fearon. Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Oh, wow. So many questions. I guess we'll just, look at your overall career. Was there a particular moment in your career that, that kind of stands out as a favorite or something of that nature?
It's hard to even choose, I had so many wonderful moments for 15 years, from 1986 to 2001. Got to start out with the Four Horsemen right on the very, very top of our profession with an incredible group of guys. That was a real highlight. My career as the Narcissist, and then onto the Let's Express, and that was tremendous time. The Slam heard around the world, Yokozuna, USS Intrepid, that was incredible. My time with the NWO, those days, the Monday Night Wars were a real highlight. My world title win on national TV over Hulk Hogan, the Immortal one. He never lost on live television before, so that was huge. Detroit, they went crazy that night. It was so unexpected. So, I had almost 5,000 matches, so it's hard to pick out. In so many wonderful moments, it's hard to really just pick out any one moment, but those are some of the highlights.
And certainly some great highlights. I'm just kind of like thinking back as you're kind of running them off. I'm thinking, the Lex Express. I remember that pulled up right next to the Spectrum here in Philly. I mean, I'm a Philly guy as well, so obviously that jumps out at me.
Matches here, the Spectrum, and what was it? The Civic.
Well, it had a few names over the course of the last couple. The Civic Center. That's right. I was going forward instead of backward.
They've knocked it down.
Yeah.
Show you how long I'm getting in years. The buildings I wrestled are here no more, some of them.
Well, some of them, and then some are still standing around. Absolutely. I'm almost in awe a little bit here. Like I mean, with seeing you and Bret Hart standing in the same room as I said.
These are incredible experiences for us as well. Sometimes in life, Fearon, we are in a kind of warp speed doing something. Like we did with pro wrestling, sometimes over 300 events in a year. And until I retired, I've had time to reflect with a little bit of God's wisdom. I never had a full appreciation for wrestling and the tremendous impact it's had on families and people that come up to me and sometimes in tears and say you were their favorite or their grandfather's favorite. They used to watch them when they were a little kid. And to see the joy that we had so much fun doing at the time, but sometimes you don't have a full appreciation for the impact that God allowed us to do, to be able to entertain people, really people welcome you into their homes. I think that makes wrestling very unique. And to come back into these events, like you say, I almost have lost for words sometimes, just like you are right now, because to see the moms and dads bringing their kids who only can see us living on YouTube right now, but say, this is who I watched, and this was my guy, or this guy was the one I showed you, Torture Rack. It's very, very special to me and all the guys here. And also for us, Fearon, to get together last night at the hotel and here today with all the guys that I was with J.J. Dillon out there, and I hadn't been around him for years. We're joking and talking about some of the old matches and some of the times we had outside wrestling. And it's a really special event like these. I understand what you're saying. Very, 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 very cool.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned moments, and I know, at the behest of my listeners, I'm going to have a bit of a mark-out moment here. I mean, you're the reason, when I was 12, 13 years old, I was wearing red, white, and blue, during that whole Lex Express run. I mean, leading all the way up, into 95, right before going over to Nitro that first night. I mean, that was, I wanted to be like Made in the USA Lex Luger, so that's why I'm almost shaking a little bit here, like an idol almost.
Thank you, Franz. Very cool, and I appreciate that. I'm very flattered, and those are really special moments. We had a lot of fun, didn't we?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the body slamming of Yokozuna on the Intrepid, of course, that huge SummerSlam '93 match.
Yeah. How old were you then?
SummerSlam '93, I would have just turned 12 years old.
Oh, wow. You were prime wrestling age. That is cool.
Yeah, that 93, that was the year that kind of soaked me in. I mean, my first event, which I know has gotten mixed reviews over the years, the first match that I saw and everything kind of clicked was Wrestlemania 9 at Caesar's Palace. You had that match against Mr. Perfect.
Oh, the mirrors and all the women coming out. Spectacular. Yes, that was a lot of fun. Funny in that match, so they put me with him because it's my first WrestleMania, because Kurt is a wonderful guy. I also regard as one of the premier workers ever in our business. And he got in the match, and we talked about a few things we wanted to thrill the fans with out there, and he completely forgot them when we locked up. So I didn't really think about it. I'm sitting back with my feet kicked up. I got Mr. Perfect the rest of the night. I don't have to think out there really. He's going to, we're going to have a spectacular match. I left him, he goes, what are we doing? I was like, oh my goodness, you don't remember what we're doing? It was quite the moment of panic for me.
Hey, but it still turned out to be a pretty good match. I mean, everything was kind of overshadowed, I guess, by Hogan winning his, I guess, 5th WWF title at the time, if I remember right, later in the night after not even being in the main event match. Kind of amazing how that had happened.
That first WrestleMania Caesar Palace, I went to the first WrestleMania I'd been to in a long time at Atlanta, where I reside now, and to see how it was a big deal then, but to see now, I was at the Hall of Fame the night before, sold out in Phillips Arena. Then the next morning I was at the hotel, and people came up to me at the lobby of the hotel where we were staying. It was, I mean, fans from all over the globe. And to see the production on the stage and everything compared to like that Caesar's Palace WrestleMania, man, it is, wrestling continues to grow. It's pretty spectacular.
And we're certainly looking forward to it. Talk to us a little bit about your time with the days of the NWO Wolfpack, and rolling with Sting and Kevin Nash and Savage. I mean, that was another favorite time of mine. I know, I had tons of red and black, NWO T-shirts at the time. Doing the Wolfpack symbol everywhere. I mean, what was that like for you? Rolling with those guys.
Oh, it was fantastic. That was one of the main highlights that ever in my career, and. Both with the guys and the crowd and the reaction and the Monday Night Wars. I mean, ratings were like doubling and tripling for both companies. It was a real high time for wrestling. I mean, there was high school and college parties every Monday night, and it was spectacular. It really was. It was a lot of fun.
You say that because, I mean, at that point I was in high school, so I'm thinking back to some of those that I had. Monday nights. Yeah,
Monday night was a big party night in front of the TV. It was great.
That and pay-per-view parties, Super Brawl this, and WrestleMania, SummerSlam, all the in-your-house pay-per-views going on, Halloween Havoc. I mean, it's just going back and forth. I'm surprised I can afford to do anything now after all those pay-per-views.
Yeah, the competition, Bill, brought the best in both companies. It was a great time in wrestling.
I'm still starstruck. I mean, I've been chatting with you here for now. It feels like 20 minutes, but it's only been about 8. It's amazing.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, it does. I'm just overwhelmed. I mean, let's talk a little bit, I guess, now post career. What you've been doing. How you've been keeping yourself busy. I know there was obviously, I guess, a physical setback. We'll call it for lack of a better term. Enlighten us a little bit about that, if you could.
Yeah, my recovery's been supernatural. I'm thankful to the good Lord and everyone at Shepherd Center Atlanta. They're a world class. I suffered a spinal cord injury in a world class, and I was never supposed to have. I had a 0 to 5% chance of any movement for the neck down the rest of my life with all the top neurologists on the planet. As you can see me walking around here today, I'm very thankful to the Lord, but also all the great gratitude to all the therapists and doctors and nurses and techs at Shepherd Center. I'm continuing to make progress. My health is phenomenal. I'm not the Lex Luger throwing people with the torture rack, but to be able to do the things that I once took for granted, now just walking around and putting my feet in the floor in the morning, I'm very thankful, and I feel very fit. I do a lot of incredible God's Open Outdoors with ministry. I do a lot of ministry with Nikita Koloff, who is the Russian Nightmare, and he's an evangelist, and we go around on weekends. We do a lot of motivational and positive speaking, going to schools, and just share a positive, uplifting message about making good choices. I also do a lot of work, but still in fitness nutrition. I always had a passion for health and wellness. I do have a company called Total Package Fitness in Atlanta, which God's blessed incredibly, just by word of mouth. I do corporate fitness and wellness. I work with a lot of top athletes on their nutrition and training programs, so that keeps me busy during the week. And as I said, we do a lot of stuff speaking on the weekends, so that keeps me very busy. But when I do have time to come to these events, it's very special to me, these events with the wrestling, to get reconnected.
And you certainly have done that. I mean, I'm certainly. I'm feeling connected here. I mean, just like I said, childhood heroes and things of that nature. And
it's a really cool sport.
It is, and we can. Things have been a little bit down. I mean, TV wise and buy rate wise, and hopefully, things.
Wrestling's always been cyclical with the economy, like everything else in times. But man, it has endured. And I'm sure these young guys are going to take it to a whole new level, and it's going to spike again, and it's going to be on fire in ratings, and I think wrestling is here to stay for sure.
I certainly hope so, because otherwise I won't have a show.
I have no worries.
Hopefully, neither do I. I'm sure the folks up north in Stanford and down there in Florida, they'll get things rolled around rolling a little bit together, and hopefully soon we'll be seeing you in that Hall of Fame induction, because it's certainly warranted.
It would be a great honor and privilege if I ever get there. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. The narcissist, the made in the USA, the total package, the one, the only Lex Luger. Thank you so much for the time. It's been an absolute treat talking to you.
Thank you, and God bless your show and all the future endeavors that you're in. Thank you.
There you go. From back a little less than 7 years ago, my interview with Lex Luger from Cinemania, and interesting that he future endeavored me at the end there. I hadn't really caught that, and I guess maybe it's because I was a little too starstruck, and that's occasionally that happens, even when you're in a broadcast journalistic type field, that occasionally you meet somebody who's like a childhood hero, and that's what Lex Luger was to me. But enough of that. We only have a few minutes left here, so that means it's time to get into the birthdays. Yes, we have 6 plus 3 Brucey bonuses, so adding a little extra time just to make sure here. So on this date in 1948, Akihisa Mera was born. The former worldwide professional wrestler, famously known for being the first wrestler to blow the Asian mist into his opponent's faces. That's right, the Great Kabuki turns 70 today. On this date in 1964, Scott Levy was born. The former ECW heavyweight and tag team champion, as well as 27-time WWE Hardcore champion, WCW United States champion, and in TNA, he was the NWA Heavyweight Champion as well, and also trained at the Monster Factory. How about that? Better known as Raven. He turns 54 today. On this date in 1970, Bradley Kane was born. The former WCW wrestler known as Lodi from the aforementioned Raven's Flock, as well as the controversial tag team, the West Hollywood Blondes. He turns 48 today. Yeah, the less I say about the whole West Hollywood Blonde story, the better. We'll get into that another time. On this date in 1971, David Arquette was born. Yes, that David Arquette, the actor best known from the Scream movie series as well as the wrestling movie Ready to Rumble, who also, yes, it's true, won the WCW World Heavyweight Championship back in 2000. Well, he turns 47 today. And actually just recently started wrestling again. He's been doing some stuff out in California as recently as last weekend. On this date in 1978, Tanea Brooks was born, the pro wrestling manager and wrestler known as Rebel of the Menagerie stable in TNA. She turns 40 today. And, well, we started with a celebrity. We're going to end with a celebrity, at least on the wrestling end. On this date in 1981, Jonathan Taylor Weiss was born. The actor best known from the TV series Home Improvement, as well as the voice of young Simba in the Disney movie The Lion King, who also is a celebrity guest at WrestleMania 11. He turns 37 today. Yeah, a teenage heartthrob no more. But considering he and I are the same age, yeah, I'm definitely not a teenage heartthrob either. To the Brucey bonuses, though, before we dwell too much on that. On this date in 1941, Bernard Sanders was born. The Vermont senator for over a decade and long-shot 2016 presidential nominee, more popularly known as Bernie Sanders, turns 77 today. No politics, we're moving on from there. Or at least no political views, we'll put it that way. Just stating the facts here, folks, trying to keep myself out of trouble. So instead, we're going to go to the hard court for actually the next two, the final two here. On this date in 1956, Maurice Edward Cheeks was born. The former professional basketball player and current NBA assistant coach for the Oklahoma City Thunder, who previously played for as well as later coached the Philadelphia 76ers, including as a player leading them to the NBA championship back in 1983. You know him better as Mo Cheeks. He turns 62 today. And staying on the hard court on this date in 1970, Latrell Fontaine Sprewell was born. The former 4-time NBA All-Star player for the Golden State Warriors, New York Knicks, and Minnesota Timberwolves, who is unfortunately best known for a 1997 incident in which he choked then-Warriors head coach P.J. Carlissimo during a practice and was suspended for 68 games. Well, he turns 48 today. Thanks for tuning in to this abbreviated edition of Pro Wrestling Weekly. We'll be back next week with a look at Hell in a Cell, as that'll be the pay-per-view the next day. Coming up next here on WBCB is a makeup from the rained-out, lightninged-out game from last night, Pennsbury and North Penn High School football here on